Are we live? We are live. Welcome to episode 15 of Monday Night Live Chat. Nice, it just takes a while. It's the best intro you've ever seen.
I love that. Just like nobody else can see you. You're going like this. Just waiting for the confusion to go through.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. Okay, right away, I'm going to, like I promised, put this link into the little chat here for the free Tradpole giveaway.
Tell them how to win first.
First, you must like this video. You also must comment in the comment box here, and you must subscribe to AWC Magazine. You have to do it. That's part of what it is. So that's it. So
I just want to say thank you to Steve for allowing me to talk about my magazine.
I tried.
Thank you. I know I did want to say what's up to a bunch of people. There's like a ton of people in here. Just Jacob, Damien, of course. Damien's first. Squeegee Puller, what's up? Glass Monkey, the Window Guys, of course, best smelling guy in the industry. Squeegee Puller, I think I said already. There are a whole bunch of people. So if you're here, say what's up and say hi. And why not tell us what your temperature is? Oh, and TJ just got here. So what's up, TJ?
What's up, TJ? It's been hot. It's been so hot. Is it still hot there?
Yes. It's like finally this week is the first time it's not going to be in the 90s in like a billion weeks, I think.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it to chill out. It's different not going out all the time than going out every like couple days a week and you just get out of, oh, this is horrible. Yeah. It's
just
bad.
Like a little bit. I just want like 5 degrees down from like the high. I think would help.
Just in the 80s is nice. 80s is nice, but yeah.
Glass Monkey 76. Where are you? In paradise?
That's east of Colorado. So I don't know. Were you in the mountains?
Because he's way up there. He's like, I don't know. It snowed this morning.
Where are you at? I don't know. In my car today, it said 102 degrees, but I don't think that's really what it was. I think it was like upper 80s here.
In the car, yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. So people here from Colorado, Denver, 84, 89. Man. But I put that link in there. I'll post it again. I'll post it throughout the night so that you guys can go to it. And then all you have to do, the only thing I could do is just you have to visit my YouTube channel on that link, but you got to do all the other things we talked about too. And then you'll be entered for it.
Yeah. What's up? Back to Bobby Johnson, by they said, what's up? Yeah, I just want to say you are at like 25,000 subscriptions almost.
You subscribers?
Yes.
Yeah, 24.3.
Ridiculous.
It's been good. It's been climbing about at about 900 subscribers a month lately. You know what it is? It's a couple of those or a few of those videos that I've done like a while ago that were like how to clean windows that like just get pretty good like routine views. And the YouTube shorts. The YouTube shorts do kind of like what TikTok does, Instagram. Because you notice on Instagram now, reels are like the most popular thing. It's not like about the pictures anymore. It's totally about the videos and reels. And everybody has, like 500 likes where everyone hits like 60 to 70 likes on a picture. So not that likes matter, but
it matters. It matters
with the algorithm. But our topic tonight was, do you suck at sales? So comment if you suck at sales. Simple as that.
I would like to know what like the hardest part about selling window cleaning is. Like when you go to a job, like because I've always been a talker. Like I could do speeches. I could go and talk in front of a crowd. I could do all that. It just doesn't bother me. But like some people are not like that. And like what part of the whole process is like the hardest? Like thinking of what to say or being decisive, or like what's the hardest part in sales? What's the hardest part for you if you go and like want to sell window cleaning?
I think, if I would have done it before I ever worked at a restaurant, and this all makes sense, as far as being a waiter at a restaurant, I think that really helps you kind of break down barriers, meet a lot of different people, deal with a lot of different personalities. And that for me was like the most barrier breaking thing that really got me comfortable just talking to different people all the time, because I wasn't a people person before it. I was working on my own and doing stuff like that. So to me, it was just going up and, greeting the people. But once the conversation started, it was never a problem from there. I think sometimes what I'll do is maybe oversell a little bit or go into like too many possibilities of like ways they could do it.
Yeah.
Where if I kind of just kept it a little bit more simple and just straightforward at times, I think it would have been better or easier.
Yes. The person who shuts up first wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this. Where is it? And I got to find it because I was going to save it and I was in the wrong screen. Royal Payne just said it. Anyone can sell, but closing is the hard thing.
Yeah.
It really is, because you know what you sell. Like every one of these people that are in here right now, I think we have 32,000 viewers right now, and every one of them, they 100% know that they're the best window cleaner in their area. If you don't know that you're the best, you should not be doing what you're doing or get better, right? So that part's easy, but it's the part that like, I know I'm the best, sign here. Like, that's the hardest part, is closing it to get it done. Like, because everybody has a window cleaner. If you're selling route, people are like, oh yeah, every time I go into somewhere, they go, I got a guy. Well, of course they do.
Yeah.
That's of course what it is, But if there was a little kid running towards a busy street through a crowd of people, you would push everybody over to save the little kid because you knew that's what's right. Like that's sales. 100% that you're the best company. If you don't know, then you need to like figure out why you are the best.
I always felt like with store, I felt like residential wasn't that hard to get, just due to that's more like EDDM or something like that can get residential. I think a lot easier than you can't really do EDDM for storefronts, right? Yeah. But like storefronts for me, because I wasn't at the time when I first started selling it as personable, I think, as I've become, is that it was more just like the checking in every time I was there in the area, like just saying hi, seeing if you're still interested. The windows are still dirty, but it was never like pointing out, oh, your windows are still dirty, you need me to clean your windows, remember, I'll be back next time. It was nothing weird like that, but that always worked. Sometimes it would take 1 month, sometimes it would take 6 months, but it always worked as far as just the consistency and numbers. That's all I ever did, because I didn't feel like I was going to be like that great, like going in and like closing them in like 5 to 10 minutes, which happened every once in a while, but that happens in everything. So I thought more numbers and consistency helped me more than anything.
Yeah, it's doing it a million times too, but I think I agree with TJ says that it's the easiest part of the job is actually getting the work. And it's the most daunting, because one thing that people really have just in life, especially if they've never, like the new introverts, man, introverts were never a thing like 20 years ago, right? But now I tell my kids, like, if you could talk to strangers, you're going to be better off than any other kids around, because everybody else is just texting and scared to talk to people. Yeah. But the big thing is that when somebody says no, people take it as they're saying no to them. Like, and that's where the word no is so strong, is because like, if I said no to you, Steve, like, no, like I'm saying no to you, you're like, man, he just always says no, but that's not really what's happening. You're saying, do you want a service? And they're saying, no, not right now. If you can get past that mindset, we're like, cool. All right, well, we'll be back next month. Don't worry about it. We'll talk then. I didn't get sad. I didn't get done with, 3 people telling me no. And then I'm crying in my car because I'm like, oh my God, nobody likes me. I'm like instantly understanding that they're just saying no, not right now. And that just means I'm going to call them in a week, because that's a defense mechanism anyway.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think too, like with residential though, I feel like that's always a pretty easy sale.
Yeah.
Like that's always pretty easy.
You just need to know who you are, because they're letting you in their house.
Yeah.
Like I always felt that, like, if they like me, I'll do the work. Like they don't care who's doing the work. If they like you, they're going to have it. That's.
Yeah, exactly. How many storefronts in one day have you sold as your record?
Oh,
probably a really stupid question.
No, that's a great question. If anybody's watching and wants to comment the number, because that
I had one day, and it was literally in my first year of ever doing storefronts, and I got 5, which I felt pretty good about in like a day. 5. Mediocre. This was back in, I would say, like I think 2013, but it was good as far as like the numbers, as far as the ratio of like what you got into in one day for just going into random store. That was the best I ever did as far as like one day. But just Jacob got 48. So
but
Yeah.
Glass Monkey also doesn't know that's just Jacob, so it's not 48. No, I never ever sold, like, did door knocking, like I call that, but route, not doing
Right.
actual houses. But 6 is my number. But I never did a full day of doing route because I'd always do half a day with follow ups, right? Once you're in
Right.
rotation. So in a half a day, I did 6, but it actually ends up being I was like out for 5 hours because I was training a new sales guy. So we were out, and it made it look really easy. But I was like, bro, like this is a good day, like
Yeah. I was with someone else on mine too, and they were like, "Man, this is really great." And I was like, "No, dude, this cannot be normal. Like, it just can't. If this was true every day, this would be insane."
Yeah, I paid him full commission for that day, but one of them was like a restaurant, and I want to say it was a $199 a week job or every 2 weeks. I can't remember, but it was like his pay for that day was, he was like, "Dude," and I'm like, "Listen, I would love to tell you this is what you're doing all the time, but it's not. Like,
this is not gonna happen."
This was a killer day.
I forget what Keith Kalfas had as his record. He has a YouTube video where he talks about it, and it was like, I think it was in 48 hours or something. It was like 40 something that he may have sold. But yeah, I mean,
well, if you counted route and houses or something like that, then maybe I'd get up there. But I don't know that it was that high. I've had some really, really good route or residential days.
Really?
Yeah,
just booking
really.
after booking after booking.
Yeah, my highest day I booked in not like the office or anybody else. It was just me. I booked like 12 grand in work, and it was like houses. It was houses, commercial project, which wasn't that big. Obviously, that would be more, but it was like a monthly commercial job.
Right.
And I was like, dude, this day was great.
Now, on a day like that, would you find that it was more of stuff that was not only coming in, but just stuff that you were following up on, like a mix of everything?
Yeah, it was a mix of everything, but it was also one of those days, the days where you come to work and the light switch flicks and you're just like, holy cow. Like I probably had like $2,000 worth of work booked before even the crews started showing up. Like, it was just one of those days where it was like, I'm returning calls. They're just like, "Hey, I heard from a neighbor." And I think one of them too was 3 people that lived right next to each other. That was like the 4th,
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are the good days. Those are the good days when it starts right from when you wake up and goes through the whole day. And then the next day you're like, I hope I get a little break. And it goes again.
Nice. Yeah. Well, just Jacob said he sold 2 just today alone. So that's pretty rad.
Trying to see if there's any questions up in here. Does anyone have any questions about, not really, I want to say how to be a better salesman, because I don't know how much I could tell you, but, oh, here we go. What do you do when you know the bid was too low? Ooh, as in like you did the bid too low and you messed up? I've done that. You've done that?
I've done that.
I've done that a lot.
I've gotten it and then went to the job and went, how did I get that wrong? Like, I booked something and then we went back, after like a couple weeks or whatever. And I was like, how did I do that? Like, what was I?
Now, I would love to hear, because right away some people went to suck it up, learn, eat it, don't underbid. Now, would you ever take that step to, if it was so crazy and you saw that you could make double, triple on the job, would you talk to the customer or would you eat it?
Well, so I would always eat it, because I always think that instantly going to a job, people always think that we're shady because they're like, oh, it's a contractor. They're going to steal my money like the bathroom remodeling guy did. So I'd always eat it, but I would say, hey, just so you know, I would love nothing more than to be able to do this again, but I do have to increase it next time. I always stand by my bids. I messed up this time. Don't you dare worry about it. We learned a valuable lesson about fill in the blank. I always say oh, the back were triple tracks and I didn't catch that. I'm so sorry, but we did it. It looks amazing, but just to let you know the next time, because then what happens is people, 99% of those times, we always got tipped. So not that that's what I'm doing it for, but people are like, oh my gosh, I know when you came up with the bid, it was just so low. And I'm sorry, we were talking and I'm a talker. So I always use that as an excuse. I'm sorry, we got to talking, and it works because that's where my ADD brain was. But I'd always eat it that first time, and nothing tells you something's hot than burning your hand,
I had a storefront recently that called me and I was here at home doing sales, and the guy wanted me to give him a bid. And I said, you know what? I said, if you just send me pictures right now, I'll get you a bid. It's like a 1-story storefront. he sends me pictures, and there was like a few pictures that I kept going back and forth on. I was like, I think these are the same picture. He just sent it and didn't mean to. And then all of a sudden I give him the bid, and he calls me. He's like, oh, could you possibly give me a bid for like all the ones like that we have in Colorado? And I'm like, oh no, I messed up. I really messed up on this. And he's like, man, yeah, and he's straight up saying, because your bid is so good. We're just wondering if you could do the other stores. I'm like, oh man. I was like, no, I can't do that at store because they're out of my area. But then I went, and luckily it worked out okay. But I definitely could have made like an extra 50, 75 bucks on it. But I just said, you know what? It's every 3 months. Takes me an hour and a half. It's 150.
I will always think too on the first time if I really, because I do 100. Well, I do 99.99% of my bidding over the phone. Always did. And some people always hate on me for that. But so there would be times where I had one time where I show up to this house. I use Google and Bing. Bird's Eye at the time was also being used. It was like a rotation. It was great.
Yeah.
And I did it, and we did the count, and I did it with this lady, and it was this Indian lady who spoke English, but I'm pretty sure she was pretending she didn't, because when I talked to her, it was a different person. But anyway, so we did the whole bid, get the job, and the guys called me, and they're like, dude, this is like not what you thought it was. And I'm like, really? What? So I pull up everything, and I'm driving over there because it was actually right next. It was like 2 blocks away from where my dad's house was. And like, whatever, I'll just go talk to him and shoot the poo. And I show up, and I'm like, they remodeled their house, and I've never seen it, but the house is here, and they built like a sunroom on the entire back of the house. So it was like another like glass. It was half the house on the back, and it was all glass. And I went to the lady, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but we can't do this anywhere close to this. This is what we talked about, this many windows, so I could certainly do that for that price. You could pick and choose which windows you want, but this here, you never mentioned that. She goes, well, you asked me how many windows I had on the house, and those are windows that I had on the sunroom. I'm like, well, then I can't clean the sunroom because we didn't talk about that. She's like, well, you're going to honor your, and I'm like, I cannot do that. You know that, there's like 5 times as many windows just on that back as there is the rest of the house.
Right.
And then she said, well, I sure hope it's not because I'm Indian. And I was like, nope. Like, as soon as you pull the race card, I'm like, I'm sorry, this just is not working out for us. She's like, I'm going to leave you a bad review. I'm like, you have to do what you have to do. And I apologize that I even gave you this bad feelings, but I think our job is done here. And we just got in the car and just left, like all of the crews. I'm like, nope. As soon I knew there was no good benefit. She never left a bad review or anything, but I knew like as soon as it came out of like how she said it, I'm like, nope, there's nothing good about this. Even when I get done with this job, even if I ate it up and I did this like $2,000 job for $300, I'd get all done with it and she'd still complain about something,
I think one of the worst ever bid things I had happened where I went and bid a home in a pretty upscale part of I don't want to say the towns, a pretty upscale part of this one town. And then the town that's like north of this town is a little like lower scale, right?
Yeah.
So when I get there, the lady greets me in the front, nice house. She says to me, you see everybody here working? They're like landscapers, people doing a lot of work on the house. They're all from this town up north, like as in like the poor town. So I want that town's prices. And I said to her, I was like, I'll bid it at just like what I bid it at. And so I just like did my bid like normal, gave it to her. She's like, no. This is like this town's prices. I want that town's prices. And I was like, this is the weirdest conversation. That is not like trying to haggle at all. That's just being rude. Yeah. And that was like one of the weirdest things I've had happen for sure.
That's super weird. As soon as somebody like thinks that you're overcharging because their neighborhood's fancy, like I don't ever do that. But a very, very interesting, right? So sales is, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for this exact reason. But if you just listen to people, they will tell you everything you need to know. And I tell you, I've talked to people who I've given them a bit over the phone, and this happens probably 99.999% of the time. Every time that I bid over the phone and end up having to go to somebody's house, it's because they say this line. But I'll give them the price. Like, okay, your job is, whatever, $399, and it's inside, outside, track, sales and frames, the whole kit and caboodle. And they go, I hate to do this. I'd love to get that price, but I have a really big house. Like we're almost 3,000 square feet here. I don't know if you know that. And I instantly, as soon as they say that, I instantly go, man, these people are extremely proud of their house. I'm going to go to their house. I'm going to go to their house and go, hey, you know what? This house, I'm so glad you called me, and this house is amazing. This is an amazing house. Thank you. I'm glad I looked at it in person. You know, I gave you this price, you know, and we talked about it. And because you were forefront, I'm going to honor that price for you. And I just want to build a relationship for you. I mean, maybe we could take some pictures of our crew on the house or something, you know, it'd be, they go, oh yeah, hey, you know what? I'd love to help you out. You guys take pictures of the house all you want, you know. And instantly, that's what they wanted. That's what they were saying, is they said, hey, I have this awesome house. You have to tell me how awesome my house is. So I'll go do that. I'm not going to charge them more and be an a-hole, but I'm going to let them know their house is awesome.
That's amazing. There was a good question here. From Streetless Window Services, if you increase your prices, do you keep someone's house that you had the previous year that same price, or increase along with the rest of your pricing? If you increase your prices, I think kind of depends.
Increase them more. I think that's what he's saying. Like, do you increase them more, or do you increase just everybody the same percentage? And I increase everybody the same percentage except that house. I'll bump it up and be like, hey, I didn't see this or that. You know, next year, just so you know, we're gonna have to add another $50 on or whatever. If they don't call me because of that, I totally understand, because I'm not trying to pull a bait and switch. But
well, I think maybe what he's trying to ask though is like, okay, say in 2022 he cleans this house, and then he already has customers from 2021 2020, but then I'm getting my own self confused here.
But then carry the one, and then you have to drop your prices.
But I guess what my answer would be more if I saw a customer, I guess I was trying to be more specific about it. Like, would you increase a customer like every 2 years based on how long you've had them? Or
I increase a customer like every single year, regardless. Calendar year, calendarically, they get increased.
Calendarically. I like that word. That's a
fancy.
Calendarically.
So my calendar of the day says.
Ooh, here's a window cleaner question. This is a great one. From Royal Pain. What's the biggest commercial building you have cleaned? Bank, hotels. Everybody loves to share the biggest building they've ever cleaned. Biggest building I've ever cleaned. For real, me and Troy did the test on the 90-foot Destroyer, but we weren't cleaning that building. We just tested it. I want to say probably just, I did like a 5-story college a long, long time ago. That was it. And that's the biggest. That's it. Yeah. That was water fed pole. Yeah. So yeah.
It's more of the complexes for me. Like, I've done some really big complexes where it's just building after building after building after building. I've done city contracts where they're like, here's 32 buildings, you know, like find the buildings you didn't even know existed, you know, which suck, because if you're in an older town, you get like a, you know, courthouse that was built in like 1923 and you're like, ugh. These windows are garbage. But the tallest building I ever did was a 13-story, and people don't know this about you and I, but we're going through high-rise training here next month or in a month or something.
Yeah.
I was on this 13-story building doing a drop, and I forgot to lock my rack, and I was like dangling with my hands, like holding myself, and pulled myself back up over. And I was with a trainer, and he was like, dude, what's going on? Talk to me. I like pulled my fat butt back over the edge, and I was like, I didn't lock my rack. I'm an idiot. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. Next time you do, as you're falling, you know, going down, just grab the rope. You know, your hand will stop. And I'm like, no.
I can't lie. I'm a little scared of it. You know, like I'm gonna
get so much cool video of you crying. It's gonna be great.
Oh man, no, yeah, I'm probably gonna get shaky legs. Like, a lot of things are gonna happen that I didn't know were gonna happen.
So awesome.
And you know, are we actually going off? Are we going off the side of a building during this?
Yeah.
Do we get to do that? Oh, nice.
It's a 64-story building.
No, it's not.
The tallest one in the state.
No, it's not. Okay. Okay.
No. It's at a training facility. We may go over the building, but we'll probably just a training facility stuff.
Oh, thank God. Well, I just want to learn, but it's going to be fun to learn about it, because here's what I do right now. When someone comes to me about high-rise stuff, I know that it is very important to their life. I don't know much about high-rise, so I give it to Josh, because Josh knows a lot about high-rise stuff. So if you do want to know about high-rise, though, you do know quite a bit, because you have been trained before. So, like, yeah.
We did it. We did it too. We just, at WCR, we're not extremely equipped for high-rise. We have enough stuff that can get you going, but high-rise is not like people call, and this is all the time, you know this, but people call and they'll be like, hey, I'm getting into water fed. What should I get? Okay, I can ask you a couple questions. Let's do this. And I can tell you what's a great system. In high rise, it's a completely different thing, because the instant you start putting something together, everything tethers to that. So if you're using a parapet clamp, right? Well, now starting from the clamp, you have to go everything from rope size to rope grabs to, the clamp itself, to your carabiners, to everything has to then be tailored all the way down to your rope grab. And, your rope grab is based on the size of the rope, but your lanyard size and position is based on what type of front harness or back harness. And then there's OSHA stuff. And it's like, you can't just be like, I just need everything, hook me up. And then you make a cart and you go, all right, have fun, jump over the building. Hopefully you have good luck. Like, it's not dangerous. I'm telling you, it's not dangerous. It just, more people get hurt on ladders, billion times more people. But you just don't hear about a guy falling off a ladder and breaking his legs. You hear about the guy who fell off the building, because that's like everybody's worst nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And almost 100%. I've heard of, it probably has happened more than that, but I've also done some international training courses that were safety and high rise, and they tell you horror stories, kind of, whatever. And I've heard of one guy who had malfunctioning equipment, but every other person it was use your air. People rush, they get too excited. I had one guy who wanted to do high rise, and he was going to go. We did it was like a 4-story. It wasn't bad, but we ended up rolling it and just was set up that way. And he was just, oh man, he was like giddy. He was so excited to jump over the building. I said, no. He's like, oh, I can't believe it, man. I work so fast. No, dude, you're this excited. You were going to F up. You're going to fall, and something bad is going to happen because you're just too excited. You're blinded by the excitement that you're not going to have a healthy respect for falling.
Right. And yeah, it just, when people are asking me questions about it and I don't know, it's like nothing that you mess around with. It's like, no.
And I always say to them, like,
100%, there's no way I'm answering that.
Yeah, who'd you get trained by? And they're like, I've climbed trees before, or whatever dumb reason. It's like, it's not the same. Like, it's not the safety or danger. It's that you get stuck up there. You know where more people can get hurt from is the way that their harness is. If you fall off your chair, there's arteries in your legs, and if you hang there for too long, it blocks the arteries to your legs, and you die.
Oh, this is great.
If you get right, no, but if you get stuck up at the top of the building, you're like, oh, it's fine, I'm in a harness. The harness is what kills you. Like, you understand? Like, there's little things like that. And then on the top of everything, which obviously human life is number one, but it's a $10,000 fine from OSHA for like every infraction. Like you could be done and be like, well, hey, you did pretty good. You only got 10 infractions. That's $100,000. Like, you end your career, you end your life. And then these people who don't have LLCs or anything else set up, they lose everything they own. It's like, see, you could have just got trained.
That's scary. It's scary. There's even people in the comments. Going for you too. Had an uncle die falling 10 floors. Oh man. Christopher Kirby had an old boss fall 6 stories and live in St. Louis?
SLC I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's
I don't know about this, man.
The worst story that I've heard, which was like the saddest. It wasn't the worst, and we're not going to get into like, this isn't like a bad thing. So my brother was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and his sergeant, when he was in Iraq, reached out to me because his sergeant was getting out during when my brother was still in, and he goes, hey, my brother does window cleaning, you should call him, because he was getting into that. So I like took this dude under my wing. Like, I didn't do a lot of media and stuff back then. So we just talked 3 times a week and just talked about all this stuff. And all of a sudden, like, he didn't answer the phone like a couple of times. I'm like, cool, he's busy, whatever, whatever. And his girlfriend texted me from another phone and just said, hey, there was an incident. I'm like, okay. And he just did houses. I'm like, well, what incident? Well, it was a 2-story house. So, some 2 stories have like a little bit of roof on the first floor and then a roof on the second floor. Right. He was walking on the first floor spraying a house. Instead of using an X-Jet, that's what he was doing. And he was looking up like this, doing his thing, and he walked off the roof. First floor, that's it. He ended up breaking both of his ankles, I believe, and one of his legs on this because he just walked off. So by the time your brain's like, what's going on? You're already at the ground, right?
Yeah.
So it was so bad. He ended up having like 6 surgeries or some crazy number of surgeries, and they couldn't fix the one side. They just couldn't fix it. So the doctors finally said, hey, we can't keep operating on this. Like, you haven't walked in like, 2 years or whatever it was without assistance. Like, we need to either fuse it, which means you can never surf. He lived in Hawaii, I think, at the time. And you can never surf. You can never ride a bike. You can't run. You can't do anything because your ankle will be fused. Or we can amputate your lower half of your leg. So he, of course, did the lower amputation, all because he fell off like a 1-story roof. Like, that's like a 6-foot ladder, when it comes to it. And
Wow.
he tried to do some triathlons, and he wanted to get back into doing marathons and be like the fastest recovery. And then he just ended up like mentally, just his mental side of things couldn't keep up with him. So that's like
you.
ruined the whole day. Yeah. But that was like the whole thing. And I'm like, man, that gives you such a more understanding for certain things. If you ever ridden motorcycles, or anybody in the comments has ridden motorcycles, like, the worst accidents are the simplest, stupidest accidents.
Yeah. Or they say like accidents always happen like a mile away from your house, like that saying.
Yeah.
But wow, man, I did not know that. That's crazy. I mean, that's a really good story to tell, because it's like such a little thing in amputation.
Well, you never think about that because you're like, do stupid. I've done stupid. I've had ladders slip before. I've had rugs. One time I was up on this like inside atrium on a stack, and the stack was on a rug, and I'm an idiot because there was a couch on the rug. So in my dumb brain, I'm like, oh, the couch will stop it.
Right.
It was all on hardwood floor. So as I'm going, all of a sudden, like, I like pinch my finger on the one part of the ladder. I'm like, what was that? I thought I got stung, and I'm looking in the ladder on the edge is doing this. And I'm like, and I was on a stack, so I had like 3 inches left. So I'm like, oh, I'm like yelling, and the lady like ran over and jumped on the ladder. But I was like, I'm watching slowly falling down. I'm like, there's just so much marble and like, fancy. I'm like, this couch costs more than my car. Like,
some night on here, we should just have stories of just like things that went horribly wrong in the wintertime when everybody's like really in here and everything. I mean, oh man.
I have one more interesting one.
Okay.
One more. So this is not to me, it's one of my guys, but I'm on the job. I explain everything to him on the job of how to clean everything. He, of course, knows better than me, and he does the one thing I told him not to do, which was we had a little giant ladder, and there was a tin roof, we call them, but they're copper or whatever. And he put it like an idiot straight, and he put it on the literally only thing I told him not to do. He did that. He's like, oh, I just got to do it real quick. I had to reach the top window. And he shot the ladder off the 2nd floor of the house onto the car, like onto the roof of the car.
Wow.
Yeah. By the way, every glass piece in a car shatters when your roof collapses.
Oh my gosh, dude. You're like, oh, well, there's the whole day of work just gone right out of your pocket.
The one thing I told him not to do. He didn't get hurt because like the ladder slipped and he like caught himself, but he was up on like a 3-story. Like, he would have not been good. But anyway.
Gosh.
Okay. I've ruined lots of people's day.
All right. So we're going to get back to window cleaning question. So I have any depression here. What was, let's see here. Good question by Christopher Kirby. Construction cleans are the worst to bid when trying to be competitive. Not really a question, but I do agree with this because that's what I always say to somebody when they ask me about construction cleans is, how do I bid it? And I'm like, like, you're going to bid it, but bid it like at what you're going to make money at, because there's going to be someone else most likely who will bid it way lower than you, and you may not get it, but don't stress. Like, probably the things you should least stress about, unless that's like your main thing that you want to do. But yeah, I feel like I hate going for construction cleans because I would never bid it low. And then usually the foreman or whoever you're talking to is like, no, I would never pay those prices, but you'll just do it for a day and you do a one-time job for them and that's it. Yeah. I've had so many of that.
I'm really okay with losing jobs that way because you bid every one of your jobs of like, I bid it to make money, right? So I wouldn't not make that money, right? So people are like, oh man, maybe I should have lowered it. You bid it at what you should have made money. Like, I'm not going to jump over pennies or dollars to make pennies just to get something, especially construction cleans, man. Construction cleans are awful.
They're the worst. And then Christopher on, what do you guys do with 15,000 square foot homes that want monthly? How aggressive? Because billionaires are cheap. We bailed. 2,200 was what it was. That's just really up to it's up to what you can get out of it and if it's worth it for you. But that's it. I mean, that would be awesome if you could do that every monthly. But
if I'm going to do $2,200 of work, I'm going to do $2,200 of work. Like,
yeah, no problem in that.
You got those 15,000 square footers up by you, right? You got some areas like that.
We have that area down in Denver, like Cherry Creek area. We were doing some that were like 25,000. But you know what? Those type of homes are, I feel like, I'm not trying to, like, I think are easier sometimes than, like, when they're simple, just casement, and you just go through. It's like, customer ain't going to go through a 25,000 square foot house and be picky as all. Usually they're not even there. Usually that's their second or third home, and they're there 2 months out of the year. Like, you're just literally there for maintenance. And all those homes always have people that are constantly working on construction. They have a guy that like lives there that does the construction for that and 2 other homes. So, I mean, that's what I've always found with those. But I wouldn't care to do them though. Just like we've always talked about, cookie cutters is what I'd rather do all day. I got 2 of those tomorrow, cookie cutters. It's gonna be nice.
You mean 2,500 square foot house that all looks the same? Heck yeah.
Yep. Easy 3-foot step ladder all around the house. It's great.
Heck yeah. By the way, Craig is absolutely right. Best comment of the whole night. #1clip. By the way, I know we're talking window cleaning, but are you geeked for the huge convention?
I am really excited for the huge convention.
I'm
really excited to go.
It's a week away.
This
week.
What's today? Wow. Today's Monday.
Yeah.
By tomorrow, week away, we will be heading to Nashville. We'll be in Nashville that night. So if you're there, you want to hit us up. Yeah. You know our numbers. I mean, literally. You can find our phone numbers. Yep. Oh, the 2 clips are taking over and 2-step. So we'll be good.
It's Eddie. You don't get to get points for Eddie.
Let's see here. Other good questions. The love of clean windows. Let's get back to sales. Price per window or pane or job. What?
Price always per pane, not per window and not per job. Yes. Because there's always going to be a transom, which is only 1 pane. There's always going to be a casement versus a double hung versus, like, you have to go per pane. Like, 1 piece of glass is always 1 piece of glass.
Yeah. I always go by pane. What would you price a small French pane at?
So
8 by 8. 8 inches by 8 inches.
I do 3 panes of French equals 1 pane of glass, which I know is against everything I say, but
that makes sense. Well, what do you say your 1 pane price is?
My 1 pane price,
residential,
exterior only?
No, in and out.
In and out, $750.
Ooh, mine's 8 now. Mine's 8. Yeah. Outside only? I think outside only, if you can get $5 a window for outside only, a pane, that's pretty good. That's pretty good money. You're gonna make pretty good time on that and pretty good money.
Yep. And you're not really telling people. I mean, I always tell people, because it's inevitable that once a year somebody will go, "Oh, I can't believe you made $50 more than I do an hour." Like, we're hiring. But I always say, like, well, as soon as they come up with magic wand technology, I will have something where you pay me cash and I will flick my wrist and all your windows will be clean, because that's what you're paying for, is clean windows. It doesn't matter if I take longer or take less time. So,
you know what I had the revelation though recently, like in my area, was that some of the storefronts I've bidded, I have gotten a response very typical of like, "Oh, that's it," and I'm like, you know what? I think my mind is old in this area of like thinking of like prices about like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I just like, all right, I'm just going to start adding more, and we're just going to see like where the market is, because the town I've been mainly going, the market was like so skewed by one company that all my residential bids that I do there with normal pricing, I'm like ran out of the neighborhood. But with the storefront, all of a sudden it's like someone around here is pricing either like crazy high that makes it seem low, or like I'm super happy at these prices. Like anybody can make like like 1 week training could make good money off these prices. Yeah. But I had that revelation recently where I was like, all right, time to wise up a little bit and pick it up.
that happened, like, this is years ago, but I had done house washing at the time, and somebody was talking about house washing, and they're like, your prices are too low. And this is like 12, I mean, this is like a long time ago. And this is before I wrapped my brain around this concept really, but I was like, the people in my area won't pay that. And the guy said to me, he goes, have you tried it? And I was like, well, no, I just know. And he goes, so you just know? I was like, yeah, he's probably right. So what I did was, just to see, I literally one day, I think it was a Tuesday, but I went into work and I doubled my price on house washers. Every house washer, I'm just going to double it. Let's just see if I can get one out of it. Every single person who called me for a house wash said yes. I didn't lose one person to that price, and I doubled my price.
Wow. Yeah.
At that point, I instantly was like, holy cow, my market knows more than I know about my market. Like, you have to try that. I mean, don't be that guy, because there was a guy back years ago, and I won't bring up his name, but he wanted to be the most ultra luxury, and he thought, well, hey, I'm going to charge $20 a pane, and if I create a luxury experience, I can do it. Well, he went out of business.
Right.
Like, there's obviously a cap. You obviously, you can sell $1 million Bugatti. You're only going to sell 5 of them.
I had someone come on my channel, and is not a common person that ever comments. So I don't think they even would watch this, but they told me that they were doing $25 a window pane, and they will not clean a pane for anything less. And I was like, I didn't even get into it, but I was like, I don't see how that could really work. And I would think that you would probably just price yourself out of your market. And they're like, nope, I won't touch a window for less. And I'm like, cool. That's not even worth going back and forth about, because this is so far off. So far off. Like, you're talking about like 100 window home to be $2,500 or more. Like, there's just no way people would pay for that. Window cleaning to me is not that important. Like, it's not. Yeah, no way.
And you know what? I've had people do that on route too, where they say that they'll charge like, I charge $15 a window on route. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Well, then you have one route job where the person never bid it from anybody else. I'm not saying to be the lowest, but I'm saying you got to be at least somewhere in the ballpark.
Right.
It's like you go to a sandwich place and you got 10 sandwiches and the 9th sandwich costs $86. You're gonna be like, what?
What would your average commercial pane price be?
When I was doing it was like $1.50, but it's at like $2 now.
Do you in and out or a side?
No, $2 per pane per side.
Okay, yeah. That's where I'm at. Like, just like $4, I feel pretty good at with commercial, and then double the size, I'll do a little more. But yeah.
And I like it being a little on the higher end, because if I do get an insides and commercial will always, or route will always take you a billion times longer.
Oh yeah, you got to move everything. Yep. It's
$2. Yeah, $2 per side per pane on route, but if it's in commercial, it's $4 per pane.
Out.
Just out.
You just do not try to do inside when you were doing it?
I always will bring it up, but I can't even remember a single project that I did insides on, other than like an entryway.
I think I told you when I was with Jim at 2020, we got routed in with the janitorial company, where that's what we would do is just the insides. Like, we just did the insides of so many buildings, and it was awesome because you could do it on a Saturday morning, like fit it in and tons of partitions and easy work. And those, no matter what, those windows are looking better. No matter what, it's just simple, easy work. I want to get into a question real quickly from Street Coast Window Services, because he asked us at the beginning and we didn't answer it. I kind of don't know if we have an answer to this. Is it free to get into the huge convention? No. Do you just pay to listen to the seminar? You pay to attend. You pay to get the lanyard with the badge and your name on it that you frame when you go home from the event. And then you also have to pay for the hotel or wherever you're going to stay. But I mean, what is it now? I don't know the cost. You may know it. Do you know it?
He hasn't paid for a show in a while. They ask him to come. They pay him to come. No. Yeah, but what you were just saying is literally you pay for a badge, and what you do with that is like up to you. Like, the classes are cool. Like, there's good stuff there. But I will 1000%. I always, like, this is like the first 8 years probably, I slept on floors. Like, when I was not even that. I mean, I slept on floors and beds and shared rooms, and like, I get so much more from like hanging out at the bars or at restaurants or just talking to people than I do even at the classes. Not that there's anything wrong with classes. That's cool. But My dumb ADD brain doesn't work that way.
I tell you what, the first convention did for me when I got to go on behalf of like WCR, I wasn't working, but I did get to go like for free, was that meeting so many like-minded people, but learning, like, it really made my, like, I would say this, like, window cleaning ego just like go away, because you realized how many big companies were out there that you knew nothing about. Even in my own area that I met people that I was like, and they told me, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a I did not understand the world really of window cleaning until I went to it and just met so many people. And yes, like that's where I've made so many connections, even with like, that's where I really got to know you first, like a little bit. Like we got to know each other better through sales and stuff, but like but getting to know Chris and Alex, I would have never got to know them. Yeah.
You shoulder checked me that one time. I was walking and you hit me and you're like, watch where you're walking. I was like,
yep. I wanted to fight. You didn't fight, but I wanted it.
Why is this guy so mean? Why is this so spicy?
But seriously though, you will get to meet so many cool people, and you will get a lot of ideas by just talking to people, and whether it's over a drink or it's between classes. I think a lot of people describe the classes. I've literally only sat in, like, I think on one for a bit, was that it's if you're new to business and really need that like motivation. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I like the keynotes. I like all that stuff. You don't have to necessarily go just to learn stuff, like physically sit down like today we're learning about, but you can get a lot out of it still.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. So this was back when this was there was an event in New Orleans, and I love when there's somebody quiet and they're like trying to like listen and stuff. I'll literally like bring them in because I'm like, I know this is like your first time. You're shy, whatever. And this dude who's like a great friend now, I seen him. He was like listening, and I'm like, just come on, dude, what are you doing, man? Let's hang out. He's like, no, I'm just trying to soak it all in, and we're talking, whatever. Literally 2 years after this first show we were talking again. I started seeing him at all these shows. That's why I go to the shows now to see people. And it was 2 years later. Is it not even 2 years? It was a year and a half later because it was a different show. And we were talking about numbers. He goes, dude, this is really cool, blah, 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 about his company. And he's just like, hey, it's a stellar year, man. He's like, it's bigger than I ever thought, it's crazy. I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. And we were talking, and the guy was 20 years old, and he was having his first $1 million year. And I was like, I didn't know. I was just like, I'm helping this guy out. Dude had a monster company, like one of the most absolutely amazing companies that I still to this day have ever like seen. It's his company. Like if I ever compare anything, it's to his company. It's like that amazing. And he's just like, cool. Like, I don't know. It's like my first show. Like, I don't know. I was like, oh man, I'm helping this guy out. You want me to buy you lunch, man? Come on.
Hey, real quickly, for the love of clean windows, wants us to talk about upselling. Upselling to me is very easy, in that for me, what I do is if I write a bid for a home, I write out them a gutter cleaning bid, and I write them out a solar panel cleaning bid, because that's the other services I offer. Even if it's a year down the road they do the gutter clean, or 2 years down the road they do the solar panel, even if the price goes up a little bit, that's what I do. I'm not a huge upseller as far as like being on the job and saying like, ooh, there's some interior French windows, let me clean this, because usually the day's too packed to do that.
Yeah.
But in doing the bid, I mean, you should always bring up the different services you provide and see what happens from there.
Heck yeah. It's easy. The hardest part about getting a sale in general is for somebody to actually like you and like trust you. Like once you have the trust, like everybody has hundreds of customers. You can call any of those customers and go, hey, guess what? We're also doing screen repair now. Yeah. And they're like, oh, awesome. Yeah, add that. Like, they know and like you and trust you. Like they don't have to go through that process. You already did the hard part. Now it's just telling them the stuff you do.
Yep. Yeah. Upselling though. Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like I remember when Jim added screen repair, we started doing that, solar panel cleaning, but it was just like literally added it to our vehicles. You didn't even have to mention much. And it was just as you were there, customer comes, looks outside, they see it on the van. Oh, that's what you do. And the conversation starts. All of a sudden we're doing the solar panel, stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like upsell is pretty easy in the window cleaning world, especially if you're adding like pressure washing, or you're doing pressure washing, want to add on window cleaning. That's huge. Like I feel like we talk to a lot of people who are pressure washing, adding on window cleaning. and they just add on the exterior of the windows, use water fed pole after. I mean, I feel like that's done a lot, especially with that service.
Yeah. Upsells too, like you have to stay close to like not a jack of all trades, master of none. Like you have to stay close to like your core. So like exterior cleaning services, right? So you can do roof cleaning, pressure washing, house washing, window cleaning, screen repair. Like, but if you also cut lawns, I feel like that's just not an upsell at that point. It's a side hustle.
Yeah, exactly. No, I would agree with that. It becomes too many different things, I guess you could say. But then some people like to have like a mix of a lot of things. I forget who I was talking to. I was talking to somebody recently, and it was like they told me about some other job they had, and it was like one person I've ever met where like I was like, man, like every single thing they do, they're like not a jack of all trades. Like they're like a genius in that everything they do, they actually do extremely well. I have never met anybody like that. I forget who it was, but it was impressive because you don't meet a lot of people like that that can really do that with like multiple things at the same time. You know, it's not like they're doing different things over each 5 years, but it was impressive.
Yeah.
Random.
Christopher Kirby just said stain removal. Do you do a lot of that? Do you do that as an upsell? Do you bring it up?
Stain removal? No, I don't. Oh, hard water stain removal?
Yeah.
No, here's my like thought on stain removal. I feel like we talk about this a lot too, is that if it's like 2 basement windows and they're not that bad and, I'm there, I just do it, like just do it a part of the service. Now, if it's like every basement window and they're not going to look better without it, then yes. Or, what I explain to them sometimes too is like, I could remove this, but by the looks of it, it's going to happen every single year. So like we could just clean them normal every single year, or we could do the hard water removal. But I'm not a huge one on really upselling it because I don't really like it after years of doing it. So it's not a big one to me that I really try to go after. It's not. Sad.
Yeah. I will never do it for free. I will never do it for free because I'm like, my idea is like, as soon as you get into the restoration business, like I know that there's processes that make it very easy, but like when I'm done with a job, I will always talk to, and I'm not me, just a cruise or whatever, but I will always talk to the customer and say, hey, everything turned out great. We looked at your windows. They're on really, really good shape, but just a heads up, those front batch of windows do have some hard water on it. You'll notice some white spots. All that is mineral deposits, probably coming from your sprinklers, your facade, your whatever. If you want us to take care of that, we could certainly do that. We'll have to come back for that. We can do an acid wash on those windows. The pricing on that starts at $25 a pane if you do want it off. But if you're just looking through the pane and not at the pane like we do, we can just keep cleaning it, and it's just going to get clearer and clearer every time we come, unless you're continuing to get more. And they're like, oh, I didn't even notice it. But if you tell them about it, then they're not going to call you later and be like, you messed up my windows or spots. If you set an expectation, then you can't be disappointed if the expectation is there's white spots on those windows.
Because I find too, like usually in my area, it's always basement windows, and really no one's looking out their basement windows. So it's maybe like 1% of the time that the customer actually wants to pay for it to get removed. Because most of the time they're like, no, like I don't even look out those windows. Like, I just want the track cleaned out and just like it to look better. I don't really care about the window, and that's
I want the time. Yeah. Yes, I want it done. I'm selling the house. That's like the only reason I've ever. I mean, houses do commercial properties. That's fine because they have a budget for that anyway. But houses, it is what it is.
I thought this question was good because I think definitely you should still do it. Nicholas asks, do you think it's worth to send out EDDM at this point in the season? I think you probably want to wait for the fall as far as before the fall. But I mean, could you almost start now?
I probably by the like scenery right now, people seem still a little bit slower. So I probably wouldn't, but I would 100% be getting it printed and ready because it's about to pop off.
Yeah.
For that big blast. And fall has an end date. Like with spring, there is no end date because you just run into summer and blah. But there's an end date with fall, so you want to just get it in and pack it in like you can.
I feel like it starts. I mean, once daylight savings time, but they kind of move that back. I felt like that always was kind of like a point in when it started really tapering off, just because of daylight. Simple as that. But Thanksgiving, I always feel like is that like
Yeah.
right where it kind of just starts halting for 3 months.
In Wisconsin, it sure was. Like, I did not clean. Like, Thanksgiving, everybody's there rush, and then all of a sudden the ice kicks in, and like gutters are done. Like, everything just stops. But without making this horrible any farther, but my kids go back to school on Wednesday.
Why does school start so early these days?
I don't know. Well, we're on a modified schedule, so they get like longer breaks, I guess, but like they get off earlier too. I think my kids were off school like the first week of May, maybe. I don't remember.
Or do they get a month off for the holidays or something?
You know, they get a little bit longer. Yeah, it's like an extra like 3 days on the Christmas break and extra a couple days on Easter, I think. So it's like some modified schedule or whatever, but they make it harder, you know, when you have more days in the middle of the year to try to figure out what to do with kids. My kids are old enough they can like hang out, but
they can hang out on their own. Well, cool. Well, it is, and that's it for tonight. If you're going to be at the what? Oh,
I want to do one quick plea before you get into your amazing closing.
Yeah.
If you're watching though, and I knew my dogs were going to bark. Everybody just got home. I'm sorry. But if you have not gotten a magazine yet and you're not getting a subscription to AWC magazine, go to awcmag.com/sub because we're really close to a benchmark on our side, and it would mean the world to me if you guys got a subscription to that. So
yes,
that's all.
Go do it. Get some awesome stickers, awesome articles, awesome. Simple. Yep. And then that's it. There's some dogs barking. So it's really time to go. Episode 15 is over. I put the link once again there for the Tradpole giveaway. We will announce that while we are at the convention. It does end next Wednesday or Thursday. I apologize. I don't know off the top of my head, but you'll see it on there for when it ends. So you at least have a week to get in it. I will put it in the comments of this video as well if you didn't catch it during the show. And thank you guys for always coming. And
if you are at the show, because we're not going to do another one of these until the show. If you're at the show and you see us, please say hi. Don't like tell us afterwards that you saw us and you didn't want to say hi. Just say hi. Yeah. And if you want to tell me I'm cooler than SteveO, do it. That's fine. It's not going to hurt his feelings.
Well, that was a great show, and it's over now. We're in that broadcast. Oh yeah, we have a way off too, which I'm pretty sure I lost, but we have that going on. So
yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Alrighty, y'all.
Anyway.
Peace.